All right, y'all, my bad. I don't know what happened, but I'm back. I don't know what happened, but I'm back. But check it out. Perfect example, man. Perfect example. Opposition hit, and I had to overcome the opposition, had to overcome the obstacle, man. So what we'll do is we'll call this part two. We'll call this part two, y'all. I had to overcome some opposition just now. Y'all hit the like button again as y'all come in. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I don't know, CC. I don't know what happened. One minute I was talking about opposition, then I came across some opposition, and my stream went out. But I'm back, and we still on it. We'll give y'all a little time to come back in to regroup, and of course I'm gonna go and check out what y'all are talking about as far as this topic is concerned. We are talking about embracing the opposition in order to develop and grow, rising above emotion into the thinking of God. And people will say, well, man, how much you mean into the thinking of God? I can't think. I can't go into the thinking of God. I can't think like God. Yes, you can if you rise above the emotion. Because what happens is, what we got to understand is that even God himself has emotion, but he's not controlled by his emotion. He has mastered his emotions, and he knows how to manage them and still deal with situations and deal with us in a mathematical and scientific way. And that's how we got to get. Any situation that we're in, we have to do our best to deal with it from a mathematical standpoint. And what that means is that we don't seek to solve a situation based on necessarily how we feel about it. So if I see something that makes me mad, that makes me angry and upset, my anger may not be the thing that needs to dictate how I handle the situation. Even though I may be sitting there like this, and inside me, I'm upset and I'm mad, but my mind has to process it from a mathematical standpoint. Y'all, if y'all understand what I'm saying. In other words, I have to execute the proper formula in order to receive the result. See? I gotta use the right formula, no matter how mad I am. And if I use the formula, then the result will be to my benefit. There's a lot of people sitting in the pen right now because they let anger dictate how they handle the situation. They couldn't control it. So they did something that they couldn't reverse. They took a life, beat somebody up real bad, something along those lines. Because emotion, if not controlled properly, will rule you, but it will rule you in the wrong kind of way. So resistance in life is gonna come. You got to understand, something, man. Your whole life has been based around resistance. Just standing up. You are standing up against gravity. That's resistance. Because gravity, that force is trying to pull you down. Just from being born, it was resistance. The process of birth is a process of resistance. See? Everything we do presents some degrees of opposition to us daily. So embrace it and overcome it and use it to build yourself up. We talked about lifting weights. That resistance builds your muscle up, makes you grow physically, but we want you to grow mentally. We was talking about shadow boxing and hitting the speed bag and the heavy bag and all that. But you don't know who you are until you get in the ring with a real person. You're not going to know who you are until you get in the ring with a real person. Then you see. Or if you had been in the ring with a real person, guess what? Maybe you wouldn't really fight nobody that was a worthy opponent. So you knocking cats out left and right, but you fighting people who were not good enough to really challenge you to a level that shows you how good or how bad you really are. Then you come across a real one and he put you on your back. So you know you got to go back and get better. How do you know? As a human being, your goal should be to max out. And what I mean by that is to just whatever is the highest level of myself, whatever the best version of myself I can be, my goal should be to reach that level. That's becoming a God. That's growing into your godhood. See? So don't run away from the resistance. Don't run away from the opposition. And don't run away from hitting that like button. Yeah. See what y'all talking about, man. See what's on y'all mind. I'm here. We late night. I appreciate y'all rocking with me on this late night. As I said in the first part, my this is the time of night where my juices get to really just flowing, man. This is the time of night. This is my favorite time of night. It's quiet and it's peaceful. We don't know the upper limits of our own potential till we look diligently. That's a fact. I'm gonna tell you why that's a fact. Is because we walk around pretty much on a daily basis, just kind of just coasting along. Every now and then we are in situations that require us to dig and go deep into our mind to pull out something or reach another level of thought. But for the most part, we just kind of just coast along in that mid-range. But we don't really understand the true greatness that's inside of us. We don't understand the potential that we have to bring out great things just by going into our mind and putting it out. And by us not understanding that, this is what causes the self-hate. This is what causes us to fight and kill one another. This is what causes us to have low self-esteem. This is what causes us to be envious and jealous of other people's gifts because we're not reaching for our own. So that's a great point, man. That's my homie, that B-O-B-O, that Bobo 423 rap tunes. We are not pushing ourselves to our true potential because some of us don't believe we are worth nothing. See? I see you, Kristen. That's right. I didn't have a glass of juice, but I did have a glass of raw milk. Apocalyptic minister said I needed this because it was the issue yesterday with a family member. Again, people will provoke you. People will set out, especially once you start to present yourself. Once you come into some knowledge, see, this is the thing about knowledge, coming into knowledge. When you come into knowledge that you've never been exposed to before, and you realize that the world has been deceiving you all these years, you are excited because in your mind, you're like, man, I got to let everybody know, man. I got to tell the world about this that I'm just discovering. I got to let everybody know. So you thinking that everybody is going to receive it the same way you received it. And then when they don't, you can't understand. You upset. Like, man, why y'all so slow? And it can get frustrating. But it's not meant for everybody, man. Everybody is not going to accept true knowledge. Just not going to happen. There are so many people. There are going to be more people who reject the truth than who accept it. You try to get as many as you can, but there are going to be more who reject it than who accept it. But you can't allow the rejection to discourage you from pushing on and still dropping it. Sometimes, man, you have debates with people and dialogues and arguments with people. And usually when you have these types of arguments with people, it's not always just you and that person having that disagreement. There's usually people standing around, your friends and other folks just happen to be watching, just listening to what y'all talking about. Even if you're doing it on social media, it's really prevalent on social media because it starts with a post. Somebody will put a post up on social media of how they feel, and then somebody else will come in and start going against it, presenting opposition. Then next thing you know, you scrolling down for 30 minutes of 400 comments of people arguing back and forth, presenting their points. And sometimes it gets out of hand. And people start cussing and being disrespectful in the dialogue because either their knowledge ran out and they reverted back to the previous mindset of how they handle disagreement, or they let emotion get the best of them. And when emotion got the best of them, it went bad. It went sour. But the point I'm making in saying all this is that the reason why we got to be careful with that, and the reason why we have to master that, is because the arguments and the debates that you have with other people, they are not just relegated to you and that person, because there are other folks on the sideline watching, seeking answers. See? So you got to be mindful of those who are listening to these conversations and watching these posts that are seeking true knowledge. They like, I want to know. So if something is presented that is a topic of interest, they're like, okay, well, let me see what they got to say about that. Let me watch and see. And if the two sides start to handle it in an ignorant way, then you lose the people who are trying to learn. So we gotta be wise. It's bigger than just us. So I can't get mad. I gotta think about it. Because people will look at how you handle the situation. They'll look at, you know what? He skillfully broke that down. And even when the other person became ignorant, The other person couldn't go the distance and became ignorant. That other person still remained civilized, still remained calm, and still handled the situation in a tactical, technical, dignified manner with truth and facts, and never let himself or herself fall out of pocket up here. Y'all hit that like button, man. It's your big brother K-Rino, man. We're talking about how opposition is one of the greatest tools to develop you as a person. You don't run from it. And when I say don't run from opposition, understand this also. Of course, there are times in life where you got to pick your battles. Because every battle, you don't have to take on every battle. Some things are just not worth the time and the effort. And some people are not worth the time and the effort. Doesn't matter. You just lay out your case. You know, they say good dope sell itself. As I revert to a street term real quick, they say good dope will sell itself. You ain't got to do no marketing strategies, promotional moves for no good dope. It's going to sell itself by word of mouth. Well, properly presented knowledge and examples are the same way. You just present what you got. You just lay out what you got and lay it out in the best way, to the best of your ability, and people will gravitate towards you because you would develop what's called a magnetism. They'll notice it's something different about you. You don't handle situations the way the rest of these clowns handle situations. You don't let yourself lose control. It's something about this one that just different. It's like, you know what? I'm going to investigate that a little further. I want to know a little bit more about that person because of how they handled it. See? Walaikum salam to big brother Ben X, man. I'm honored to have you in here, my brother. Y'all subscribe to brother Ben X's channel, man. You talk about somebody that drops knowledge on the regular, day in and day out, always teaching, always representing strong for the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and just frontlining. He just be frontlining on a daily basis, man. Just on the front lines fighting, man. So appreciate your presence, brother Ben. We're talking about allowing opposition to strengthen you and develop you, not to break you down. Some people get upset when people disagree with them. They literally get angry just because somebody disagrees. And again, there are different reasons why people take an opposite view from you. Some people genuinely disagree. Some people are trying to get under your skin intentionally. And some people are just ignorant. They just ignorant. But either way, you should handle it the same way and embrace it and allow it to make you stronger. I was watching, it's an old clip. Mr. Farrakhan was on the Phil Donahue show. And some of y'all, I don't know how old y'all are. Y'all might not be old enough to remember a talk show that used to come on called Phil Donahue. And he was pre-Oprah. He came on, He was a few years before Oprah got her daytime show. And he had Minister Farrakhan on his show on a couple of occasions. But each time that he brought the minister on, the minister would be sitting on a stage one deep. He's sitting up there by, he has no other fellow panelists to help him out, to kind of have his back in terms of the information. And he going to war. Bunch of racist white folks just throwing spears at him, coming at his head, calling him all kinds of names, calling him racist, anti-Semitic, all the different, just opposing literally everything that he had to say. And I just watched the minister just sit there, just calm and just dignified and just relaxed, and handled them, just technically handled them to perfection with truth, period. And the emotion grew on behalf of the audience. They got more angry because they were in their emotions. They was in their feelings. They couldn't dispute the truth that he was telling. But part of it, in my opinion, they were just upset because they couldn't get him upset. And he just relaxed, and he stood on the foundation of the truth. And that's all you need. And if you having those kinds of situations with people, that's all you have to do. And if people, if after doing that, people still just, they don't rock with you, they just don't rock with you. They don't rock with you. It's not a big deal. Because in nothing you do, you're not going to be able to get everybody. Shout out to Smart Money 805. I appreciate the love, Smart Money. You're not going to be able to get everybody. Let me give you an example. Y'all know me. Y'all know I do music. If I'm promoting my music, one of the things that we might do, been doing this for years, you may go and you may print up flyers for your album cover. You print up flyers with your album cover, the 4x6 flyers for your album cover, and typically the printing company charges a fee to print up a minimum of 5,000 of those flyers. So if I get a box of 5,000 flyers and I get in the streets and I'm handing out flyers one by one to each person, realistically, if I put it in 5,000 people's hands, all 5,000 of those people are not going to support my music. I come in knowing that. But it's a numbers game. So you hand out all 5,000 in hopes that you might get a couple of hundred to check you out. But you don't worry about the 4,800 that didn't get it. You focus on the 200 that you did get, that you potentially may get. See? Don't spend my time arguing with the 4,800 or arguing with the person who, when I handed the fly, they threw it on the ground. Hey, man, you're not going to get everybody. And that principle applies when you are dropping knowledge, when you are trying to express your truth. You're not going to get everybody. Can't get mad. You keep on going. You go to the next one. You go to the next one, and you go to the next one. Because a lot of people are going to hear you, but everybody ain't going to receive you, man. But even those who reject you, you got to still embrace that as a tool for your growth. And let me explain to you how it becomes a tool. Because the rejection, it strengthens you. If you soft, man, and you can't take a no, if you can't take what somebody just says, well, nah, man, I don't agree with that. Then you're not built for too much of nothing. You're not built for too much of anything. See? Some people say you're only as good as your competition. How do we know that Muhammad Ali was the greatest? Muhammad Ali wasn't the greatest just because he was hollering and saying it all the time that he was the greatest. That didn't mean that's not what made Muhammad Ali the greatest. What made him the greatest is that he fought the best that was out there and he beat them. That's what made him the greatest. So I can say it all day long. I can talk my talk all day long, but when I'm challenged by worthy opposition and by inferior opposition, then that's my moment to see how great I really am. Because some of us, I'm speaking about me too, some of us allow even inferior opposition to get under our skin and take us out our game in our underdeveloped mind. We let an inferior opponent mess us up. So what you gonna do when you run into the real monster? You out of there. You ain't got a chance. He gonna knock you out with one punch. So it's not about arguing and fussing and cussing and fighting with people every time they have an opposing view. You would drive yourself crazy trying to deal with everybody like that's like that. You drive yourself crazy, man. You can't do that. See what y'all talking about over here, man. See what y'all talking about. See if y'all got some sense at 1:40 in the morning. Okay, y'all must be arguing on here. Let me see. I missed that part. Randy, what's going on? Randy Timoteo. Message on Twitter. I'm gonna go back because I think y'all arguing about something else, man. Randy is accusing me of ignoring a comment that I didn't see, I guess. See, how would you know I ignored your comment? Let me see. Let me go back, Randy. All right. Randy asked me, say, can I use your music on my Twitch channel? A simple yes or no, bro. Well, it's really not a simple yes or no, Randy, because I would have to know how you're representing my music, what you're using it for, what's the purpose, you know, and I got a right to ask that question if it's my music. So I would have to ask you if you want to email me. You can email me at spckrino@aol.com and give me a brief explanation of what are you using music for and why you want to use it. And then if it's something that I'm cool with, then I probably won't have no problem with it. All right, well, let's get back on topic, y'all. Let's get back on topic. Who that king says be silent in two situations: when you feel one can't understand your feelings from your words, and two, when one can understand you without any words. Okay, that was a quote. All right. Trying to catch comments that's on topic, y'all. I know it's late. I know it's late. Yeah. We're talking about using opposition to grow and strengthen and develop ourselves, man. They say what don't kill you make you stronger. But sometimes, man, opposition and your enemies make you stronger if you recognize it. If you recognize it. Adversity is like the bus pass to our success. That's a dope statement. Sensei Scroll, is that it? Adversity is like the bus pass to our success. But we gotta be willing to catch that bus. And what is the definition of catching that bus? The definition of catching that bus is just facing the opposition, not being scared. Man, that's a great quote. The road to success is paved by hard times and obstacles and failures and setbacks, loss of friends and loved ones along the way, envy, hatred, jealousy. All of these things are things that you encounter on the road to success, to getting where you want to go. And they are, if utilized correctly, they are ingredients to self mastery. That's the key. That's why we fall out of pocket mentally a lot of times, because we haven't mastered ourselves. We haven't mastered our minds and our emotions. And it's easy for us to be set off, to be triggered. It's real easy for us to be triggered. You can't give people that kind of power and control over you. That's where we mess up. See, that's what that does. We sit around and we let people, you are a vessel in and of yourself. You are a God-crafted, just a scientific, mathematical marvel of a vessel with an infinite mind, and we let people outside of us exercise control and power over us based on something as simple as a word. And even simpler than that, as a look. Somebody can look at you the wrong way and it'll trigger you. Think about that. It's not, they may have a problem with themselves, but their problem should not be powerful enough to trigger your anger and emotions like that. See? If you coming out the store and somebody just, as you coming out the store and somebody just look you up and down and look at you like this and, look at you crazy. They don't do nothing physical towards you. I'm not saying let nobody come up on you physically. But I'm saying they just look at you crazy. Just look you up and down. Has no effect on me as long as you stay where you need to stay. I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to keep going. I don't have to confront you behind a look. See? What we got, man? Who we got in here, man? Tell me where y'all from on this late night. Where y'all at? Tell me exactly where you at. I need to know where you're at. Need to know your location, because I love the diversity. Oregon in the building. We shout y'all out. J-Rock in Oregon. Sensei Scroll is in London in the UK. Homie Q Marshall always on the scene, my brother. Austin, Texas. Michael Hernandez in Dallas. What's up, Mike? Lavish Logos. Superior. Martial Arts, my brother. Dollar Bill, y'all. Galveston County. Snoop. West Time and Gessner, H-Town, Southwest. Asiatic Asian man, Providence. I see you, L Dub. KSUE in Temple, Texas in the building. Kansas City, Apocalyptic Minister in Kansas City. Houston, Northside, Shadow Star Games. Stray Dog, Wisconsin in the building, man. Stray Dog always on the scene too. CC in H-Town. Roulette is in Bosnia. We got Bosnia in the building. We got Georgia. Tina P from Philly always representing. Gotta give y'all shout outs, man. Cause I appreciate y'all sitting up with your big brother on this late night. But we gotta get this information out, man, because we gotta be better. We have to become better. RXG is in Screwston, Texas. Pennsylvania, I see you, Monstar. Nayeli Moya. Nayeli Moya said, great spirits have always encountered violent oppositions from mediocre minds. Whew. Y'all dropping some deep ones. Great spirits have always encountered, she said, violent oppositions from mediocre minds. And let me say this too. Hold on, let me make sure I get y'all finish these shout outs. But I gotta say this part because you just made me think about something. Smart Money 805, California in the building. Jimmy Robinson, my brother Jimmy, the artist extraordinaire in Alabama. Rex the God, South Africa. South Africa in the building. John Wilcox and Tyler. Oh, Tyler in Hillsboro, Oregon. Murder Man. I salute to my brother Murder Man in the building, man. Murder Man got some stuff, boy. Hector Hernandez in Wharton, Texas. Dave and Jess Santiago says, I find doing homework on history's mysteries expands and helps understand. Keep your energy off the distractions around us. That's right. Young James. What's up, Young James? That song was dope, James. I heard the finished version, and the song came out great. Loaded Truth in Chi-Town, John Mill in Oregon. Gotta shout y'all out. Neil Ortiz. Telequackers in Humble, Texas. Armenia in the building. Man, we got people on here from Armenia, South Africa. Magic Weedapus. Yeah. Hawaii is in here. We all over the world, man. We all over the world. All over the world, man. Let me say this. Gabriel Parish in Michigan. Okay, Randy, I got you, Randy. I'm going to check my email when we get off. Chattanooga, Tennessee. See, here's the deal. A lot of people profess and proclaim and they subscribe to certain religious ideologies. Other people don't. Okay, fine. But even if you're a person who don't subscribe to a particular religious ideology or you don't claim a particular label, the one thing that you should not be able to dance around or deny are principles. So even if you don't claim the label, we should be able to agree or acknowledge certain principles, right? And the principle transcends the label. See, it ain't about if you say, well, you know, I'm this, I'm that. Because in no matter what religion you claim, no matter what ideology you subscribe to, there are going to be principles that are connected to each and every one of them. Good principles. Now, if you following some crazy cult, sick type stuff, hey, that's a whole nother ball game. But I'm talking about righteous principles. Any of the monotheistic faiths you can find principles that are worded differently in those faiths, in the text of those faiths, but they mean the same thing. So we should be able to operate on principles. And the reason I'm saying that is because there are many of us who say, okay, you know what, man, hey, K-Rino, man, hey, I'm a Christian, man. I believe in Jesus, and that's wonderful. It's all good. But all of us have to start practicing the principles that are attributed to the man you say you follow. So if you follow Jesus and you say, okay, you know what? We have the bumper stickers that say, what would Jesus do in certain situations? Well, what would Jesus do? What would he do? But it's not enough to say what he would do. Well, what Jesus would do. This. Okay, what would you do? Shouldn't we be found doing what the person we claiming would do? That's how it have to go. So if you go through, if we just take it to the scripture for a minute, if you look at how the prophets handle their enemies, if you look at how the prophets dealt with opposition, they always dealt with opposition in a mathematical way, in a way that in a godly formula, in a way that God deposited in their mind to deal with their enemies. And they always defeated their enemies. So we have to be found trying to exercise those same types of approaches the best we can. We got a lot of other stuff in us. We ain't as pure. We got some stuff in us that have to get removed. See? But we have to be found trying to operate on the same types of principles and rise above the emotion. I gave a basketball analogy one time for some of y'all, for everybody, all y'all cats on here that think y'all can hoop. I gave a basketball analogy where I was talking about how you got dudes on the court that would trash talk you to get you out your game. See? They would trash talk you to get you out your game and make you concentrate on what they are saying to you, talking crazy to you on the basketball court. Now you can't make a shot. You missing layups. You getting mad. You want to fight. And they have accomplished their mission because you was a good player. And they knew you was a good player, so they had to use another kind of tactic, because what you were able to do physically, they were not able to stop. So they took another approach and went after your mental, which should have been the strongest aspect of your game. When they talk about basketball, they say, man, the game is played up here. The game is played up here. That's life. See, we're not talking about basketball. It's just a metaphor for life. In life, the game is played up here. The game is played up here. You have to be wise in how you play the game. And I'm not saying it like life is a game, it's serious. But it's a metaphor. Don't let people talk you out your game. Be wiser than that. The only power that it has is the power that you give it. Who said that? Appreciate that, Lavish. Nothing has power over you unless you give it power. Doesn't matter what it is. Because the oppositions that I'm talking about, I'm going to say this, because we've been speaking about it through this whole live, but it's one opposition that I have not mentioned yet. And that's the opposition of self. Sometimes the enemy ain't without. The enemy is not outside of yourself. Sometimes the enemy is with you. Sometimes we are our own worst enemies. Matter of fact, most of the time, we are our own worst enemies. We are our own biggest opposition. Because a lot of the things that happen are self-inflicted. Ain't nobody make you snort them lines. You chose to do that. Did nobody make you pop them pills? You chose to do that. See? There are things that we do that we become an enemy to ourselves. That's the biggest opposition. That inner devil. That inner devil. You don't have a chance dealing with an outside devil if you struggling with that one that's in you, in us. See? So that has to be the first approach. Dealing with self. That's why I love the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teachings. That's why I love Minister Farrakhan. Because despite what everybody try to say about them, negative things they try to say about them, they never talk about how the majority of what comes out of their mouth is aimed at telling us to improve self. Strengthen yourself. And use your opposition to do that. You can master your own demons. Everything else should come easy. Because don't nobody know you better than you. Young James said, dealing with loss. It's the depth down, the rise up. Dealing with loss is a whole nother level. It's a whole nother level. We lose people, man. And it takes us to a low place. Because we want answers. We don't understand. We wonder why. Why did this have to happen? But we got to lean on the Most High. Because nothing that you have, no one that you know, none of that belongs to you. It's only on loan from God himself. Does that mean that you don't love the people you lost, your family, your friends? No, I don't mean that. It just means that we have to understand that they are on loan to us, we are on loan to others. And everything belongs to him. Piper P in the building. Stray Dog says people don't get to pick their emotions as much as they think they do. I wish I could get you to elaborate on that. I don't want to say what I think that means before I know what you are saying it means. Said people don't get to pick their emotions. Maybe, I don't know, I'm just wondering if you mean that, sometimes unexpected situations come up out of left field and it just triggers you. You didn't know. But it's not always about what a person says or what someone does as much as it is about how you react to it. Somebody need to print up some t-shirts that say, it ain't that serious. Some things are not that serious. The penitentiary is filled up with people who got caught up in situations or allowed themselves to do things that wasn't that serious. It was not that serious. See? Choices make situations. Absolutely. Choices make situations. We are beneficiaries or victims of the choices that we make. Plain and simple. That's another one. It's not worth it. It ain't that serious, and it's not worth it. Don't let anybody have power over y'all, man. Rise above emotion to the thinking of God. See? And so you quoting apocalyptic myths that say a man works off of rational thought and reason. A beast is controlled by his appetite. I learned that from Minister Farrakhan. A beast is controlled by his appetite. If you see a lion out in the Serengeti with a gazelle in his sights, do you think that the lion is rationalizing or thinking about or has any concern about how the gazelle is going to feel about being killed and eaten? All the lion know is I'm hungry and I got to eat. That's all he care about. That's all the lion care about. I'm hungry. That's food. I'm going to catch it, kill it, eat it. The problem is we have become like that. We move by appetite. We are moved by our appetite. We see it, want it, catch it, kill it, and that's it. He got some tennis shoes I want. He got a chain I want. He got a woman I want. She got a man I want. See? And your appetite for those things causes us to get out of pocket. But you only see this close. You don't look past that focal point to see that result of what's going to happen when you get it by those means. You don't see yourself getting bumped off or locked up. It's not worth it. Shagon P. Rodriguez, resist the beast and it will flee. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. Don't entertain it, y'all. Don't entertain it, man. Increase your knowledge the best you can. Increase your level of study the best you can. And work on controlling and mastering your emotions the best you can. And practice it. Don't be at work arguing with folks, man. Don't be in school arguing with folks. You about to lose your job because you on the job arguing with somebody over politics, arguing with somebody over things that you shouldn't be even worried about in that setting. And because you're trying to um, impose your system of beliefs on a person who is clearly rejecting it. All you have to do, if you're in the situation or you're in the conversation, you just simply inform people where you stand on things. This is what I believe. That's it. This is what I believe. Well, what do you think about this, K-Rino? What do you think? People ask me that all the time. And my opening is always, well, here's what I believe. And blah, 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 going from there. Now, of course, when you say that, there are going to be people that still, well, no, man, what? They're going to still have some kind of reaction to that. And my reaction is going to be, well, you know what? You asked me a question. You asked me what I believe, and I told you. You want me to go further into it? I'll go further into it. But I just answered your question. But what's that saying when they say, man, what's that saying about arguing with a fool? Let me see which one of y'all know that. What that saying is about arguing with a fool. I can't lay it out. I can't think of it. See? My grandfather told me the other day that, hold on, let me go back. He said, my grandfather told me the other day, once a man's mind is made up, nothing can change it. Yeah. Why would you spend your time trying to browbeat somebody to force them to believe what you believe? I ain't got time for that. You lay it out, and they can take it or leave it alone. But always be mindful when you have conversations. If you engage people in dialogue and you speaking on the truth, always be mindful of those on the sidelines that are watching, because you got to be careful with how you handle that so as to not mess somebody else up on the sideline that's watching you, because you being ignorant in how you reacting and responding back to somebody, and they looking at you like, oh man, this dude here, man, I came here for some knowledge, and he arguing and flipping out, and that's not something I want to be a part of now. And you just lost somebody, and you were speaking the truth. See, it's not, we know the saying, it's not always what you say but how you say it. See, because the truth, even if the truth is improperly presented, it can turn people off. Just like if a lie is presented in the right way, and I don't mean the right way, if a lie is presented slick enough, it can bring people in. That's why people like Jim Jones and David Koresh and all of these personality-driven cult type figures throughout history, people always wonder, well, man, how are these people, Charles Manson, how are these people able to manipulate and bring people in and have these big followings like that when they are spewing nothing but nonsense? Because of the ability to dress a lie up so good. They can dress a lie up so smooth. And some people, conversation rule the nation. Some people just got their mouthpiece. They can bring you in just through their talk, through their conversation. See? So a lot have come down the pipe like that in history. You have to be careful. So you don't want to be one of those whose presentation of truth is not packaged right, and you lose people even when you speaking facts. Your facts get rejected because of the way you lay it out. Happens all the time. Happens all the time. Tina P say conversation ruined the nation. Ain't that the truth? Odin reacts. Just email me, Odin, SPCKRINO at AOL.com. Just email me, brother. I would love to interview on your show, bro. Ain't nothing but love, man. SPCKRINO at AOL.com. We could do a Zoom. We could do a Zoom thing. We could Zoom like the Commodores. Y'all don't know nothing about that. Arguing with a fool proves that there are two. That's it. That's it. I heard it worded in a different way, IWD, but that's the basic gist of it. See? When you argue with a fool, it becomes two fools. How do you know which one is the fool? Shh. You'll know him when you hear him. All right, y'all, man. I'm gonna get out y'all's way, man. But I appreciate y'all on this late night. And I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Y'all subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Always click your bell to get notifications when I post videos. I've been on my motivational, inspirational stuff lately, man. And I see that a few of y'all are digging that. So I'll stay on that. I got some new music coming within the next couple of months. So be looking out for that. And go get my books. You know, I got to plug my books. My 2 books. Make sure y'all go to southparkcoalition.net. Pick up the books, man. Behind These Bars explains just that. The thought behind these lyrics and life lessons and lyrics is just an autobiographical piece of my life and my marriage to music. So I'll see y'all soon, man. Inshallah. It's your big brother K-Rino. Peace.